You've worked hard, you've been disciplined, committed, focused. You've done everything right, yet something feels off. It's not broken, it's not really wrong, but it doesn't feel how it used to feel. In today's episode, we're talking about what it actually means to evolve your ambition and why the most courageous thing you might do at this stage of your career is give yourself the permission to change. Welcome to the Career Changemaker podcast. Do you want clear direction about your next chapter, but find yourself overthinking every move and worrying about getting it wrong? If so, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Janine Esbrand, corporate lawyer turned career coach, keynote speaker, and mother of two. And I've discovered how to gain real career clarity and build an impactful career on my terms without sacrificing security or burning out. If you're ready for aligned career options, confident decisions, and work that protects your peace, close that comparison tab on LinkedIn, grab your notebook, and let's dive in. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to make sure you know about the Portfolio Career Academy. It's my 12-week group program for ambitious mid-career women who are ready to stop climbing the default ladder and start designing a career that actually fits who they are now. The founding cohort begins this month on the 29th of June, and I am super excited. Hope you can tell. There are only 10 spots. So if you are interested in building a portfolio career and understanding how to leverage your corporate expertise so that you can add an additional stream of income and impact, head to the show notes to check out the program and book your fitting call so that we can determine whether you're a good fit for the program and whether the program's a good fit for you. All right, let's get into today's episode. A couple of weeks ago, my son went on his year 6 residential. He was going to Spain for a whole entire week, and I'm not going to lie, I was definitely in my feels about my son leaving the country without me at 11 years old. And I remember the morning of, I was asking him if he's okay, does he have everything? And we arrive at school, I drop him off. I open the boot to take out his suitcase and I turn around to give him a hug and he's gone. He's gone. He is already off with his friends without a second glance, much less a hug and a kiss. And I stood there for a moment thinking, wow, he literally doesn't care. And as I was driving home, I was reflecting on the fact that so much has changed. This boy was one of the clingiest babies. He would cry if I tried to put him in the pushchair. He would cry if I tried to put him in the car seat. He wanted to be held all of the time. I had him in my baby carrier the majority of the time. If it wasn't me, it had to be daddy. He was definitely very, very attached. And when I think about that, and then I think about him just getting out the car and running off to go to another country without me, I think about how much has shifted and how much has changed without me really realizing. Yes, I know he's been growing. I see him growing year after year. Yes, I know he's going through different milestones, but I didn't really recognize the shift in how he needed me until that moment. Before, he needed me to be there all the time and do everything for him. But now he needs me in a different way. There has been a shift. And so my role in his life has changed and the season is different. And it got me thinking about what happens for many of us in our careers. Quietly, gradually, in the middle of all the ordinary things that happen on a day-to-day basis, we change. Things shift. What we want changes, what we value changes, what we're willing to give and what we're no longer prepared to tolerate. It changes, it all shifts. And what I realize is in the busyness of navigating your career and all the things that come with that, you can be not recognizing that it's time for change. So unlike my son who's just running off with his friends and ready to embrace this new season, we often don't let ourselves move into a new season. We stay standing in the car park, suitcase in hand, waiting for the hug that belongs to a different season of our careers. Maybe what your career was there to give you 10 years ago 15 years ago isn't what it's here to give you now. Maybe the way that you have been showing up is in the way that was needed before, but not now, right? And so it's important for us to be thinking about, is it time to shift and evolve? Or are we just holding on to either how we have always done things in our career and how we wanted to interact with it, or holding on to how our organizations have needed us? Because sometimes what was needed of you before is no longer needed now. Sometimes the way that your organization, your industry, your clients needed you before isn't how they need you now. So it's time to evolve and it's time to assess whether things need to shift, right? So let's really dig into, what does it mean though? What does it mean for ambition to evolve? Ambition doesn't really disappear as we grow. If you are an ambitious person, you are going to be an ambitious person. It doesn't go away, but it does mature. It does get more specific. It can get more personal and more aligned with who we actually are rather than who we are told to be. And there's something that happens as you grow from decade to decade. We get more and more aware of ourselves, right? Who I am as a 40-year-old woman versus who I was as a 30-year-old woman, what I'm willing to tolerate now versus what I was willing to tolerate back then, it's very different. It's very different. I'm way more sure of myself, what I want and what I don't want now than I was. So because I've changed as a person and the way I view things has shifted, it means that everything else can be different. Because how I show up as a person and what I'm willing to do or not do has shifted, my interaction with things has also shifted. So evolving your ambition means recognizing that what you once wanted, what you once valued, what once felt like success may have been the right answer for a previous version of you. And that's okay. It's not a failure to shift and change your ambition. It's actually growth. There are so many women that I work with that are carrying a definition of success that was handed to them years ago, whether that is by their industry, by their peers, or even their own younger self. You know, that big office, the partner track, the promotion, and they've been so disciplined, so committed to that path that they haven't really stopped to ask, do I actually still want this? Many were sold the narrative that you need to keep climbing the corporate ladder. If you're going to be successful, you need to keep climbing, you need to keep moving. And most of us have never questioned that blueprint. We just followed it. We were told, go to uni. And then once you come out of uni, you go to grad school. And once you do that, you go into your respective industry, and then you work hard and you get promoted, and you keep doing that until you reach partner status or director level. And once you reach that level, then you have made it, then you are successful. That doesn't work for everyone, and what may have worked for you before may no longer work for you now. A lot can change in a decade. A lot can change in 15 years, and sometimes we need to embrace it. So I would encourage you to start by asking, when did I last choose this path, rather than just be staying on it? When did I last choose it? Or has it become the default? If the answer is years ago, then that's your signal. We can pick a path years ago, but then we need to make recommitments to it along the way to make sure that this is what we still want to do. So I'm not saying that you need to go and like burn everything down right now. I just want you to take a moment to take stock. Look up, look around, and check whether the direction that you are traveling is still the direction that you want to go in. Does it still fit? I think one of the reasons why many of us don't take the time to take stock and assess whether it still fits is because there's a bit of a trap that will catch high achieving women out. And that is the commitment and the discipline that we have. They can be badges of honor for us. We are committed. We are disciplined. We say we're going to do something and we do it. We follow through. So because you said you're going to do something and because you're used to just doing it, you set the goal, you pursue it, and you don't quit. You keep going. And those are good qualities, really good qualities, but they can also become almost like a cage or very restrictive. When the thing that you committed to no longer serves you, but you are somebody who is used to being disciplined and committed and stay in the course, you are putting yourself in a position where you're going to find yourself feeling dissatisfied, frustrated, and miserable, and not always know why. Because on the outside, what you've got is a winning formula, right? You have built what looks good on paper. And so because you've been diligent, because you've been committed, you've arrived at your destination, which has given you a great salary, a great lifestyle, great opportunities. But if that is no longer aligned to who you are as a person and what you want, it feels empty and it feels frustrating and it feels like you can't step away from it because so many people are counting on you. You might be the breadwinner in your family. You might have commitments, school fees, different things that you have committed to. And so you can't step off the path. How can you step off the path? Right? Those are the thoughts that we have that means that we stay. We stay where we are and we don't necessarily think about what the alternatives can be or what they could look like. And sometimes changing your mind can feel like a failure. Like you have wasted all of those years. You committed to decades down one path and now you want to do something else? Really? And so it can feel like you're letting someone down, whether that is your younger self, your family, or the version of you that has worked so hard to get here. So the internal script that we have is, real ambitious women don't pivot, they push through. They stay committed. They do what they said they're going to do. But that's not necessarily ambition. That's not necessarily ambition. That's rigidity dressed up as strength. I was speaking to a past client recently. She said, I don't think I can do this for another 20 years. She arrived, right? She hit the goal, but then she doesn't really want to do this for the next 20 years. She give herself permission to consider things differently and build differently. So it's important for you to separate discipline from direction. You can be disciplined and you can stay committed. You can be doing the work. You can be showing up. But if the direction needs to be reviewed, then you can take a pause on that discipline and you can look at where do you need to redirect it to. Giving yourself permission to change course isn't quitting, is self-awareness. I was listening to an interview clip with Stephen Bartlett the other day, and he was sharing how he had grown his business social chain massively, and they had investors and they were about to do their next round of investment. The ownership had changed. He'd given away so much of the company. He didn't have control anymore, and that was important to him. And so he quit without really knowing what he was going to do next. And I know he has the privilege of having millions of pounds and he's got the resources so that he can take the time out to figure out what he would do next. But ultimately, he was still faced with that question of, is he making the right decision? He had to tear down a company that he had built with all of these employees and all of these people depending on him. But he did it because the alignment wasn't there, and he's gone on to build other businesses and done amazing things since then. And so the reason why I share that is because sometimes in the face of it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When you look at it on paper, why would you walk away from the brilliant career that you've built and all of the accolades that you've been able to amass and the expertise that you have built? Why would you walk away from that? And the reality is you don't necessarily have to walk away. You don't have to walk away. You can just diversify. You can keep doing what you're doing and you can build on the side to give yourself the level of fulfillment that you really desire. If what you've been doing on this one track is no longer feeling like it's hitting all the boxes, then you can diversify and you can add a layer of excitement and fulfillment and interest and learning again and doing things differently, that lights you up but doesn't require you to completely overhaul your entire life. So the reframe that I really want to leave you with is that evolving your ambition doesn't mean throwing everything away. It doesn't mean taking the risky step to walk away from what you've built. It's about recognizing that the season that you were in has shifted, and the next season may ask you to show up differently. When we think about seasons, we embrace the different seasons. When summer is gone and we move into autumn, we take it on board. When winter is gone and we move into spring, we adapt. We bring out the different wardrobe. We pack away the clothes that were for the old season and we bring out the clothes for the new season. And you have the opportunity to decide, what are you packing away and what are you bringing out in this new season. We can often have black and white thinking, right? Where it's like, oh, I either keep climbing or I need to go and do something else and start from zero. This or that thinking is not necessary. We can move in the gray. We can move in the gray. It doesn't have to be black and white. And the women that I've seen build the most fulfilling second acts of their careers are not necessarily the ones that have walked away from everything, but the ones who have been able to leverage the years of experience that they have had to pivot in a different direction. Whether that is growing horizontally and saying, I'm going to move to somewhere else, that is them leveraging what they've built to move into a more senior role in a specific area that is most aligned to their interests, or building out that portfolio career so that you're creating impact in ways that fit who you are now, not who you used to be. Those who take that ownership and decide and design the career that they want next, those are the ones that experience more fulfillment in their careers. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what have you learned about what you want and what you don't want in this season? What do I know now that I couldn't have known 10 years ago? What would it look like to build the next chapter using all of the expertise that I have amassed in different settings and with different clients and in different organizations, rather than building from scratch? Right? What would it look like to embrace the evolution of my career right now? So that's what I want to share with you today. Allowing your ambition to evolve is an opportunity that can be embraced and that can lead you somewhere that is so exciting, so fulfilling, and so rewarding. So don't take changing your mind or feeling uncertain as a weakness. It's wisdom. It really is wisdom. Wisdom is you learning from the lived experience that you've had and applying it to a new experience. And so if you are looking at your career right now and you're saying it feels off, you're not sure, just know that your ambition hasn't left you. It's not that you're not appreciative of where you've got to. You're just evolving. And so it's time to catch up. If today's episode has stirred something in you and you're sitting with the realization that, yeah, you're ready to reevaluate what it is that you have been doing and you're ready to start building in a different way, I invite you to apply to come and join us inside of the Portfolio Career Academy. This is exactly the work that we're going to be doing together, getting clear on who you are now and what you bring to the table based on all of the experience that you have, and building from that place so that you can create more income and more impact and feel so much better about how you're showing up in the world. So there are only 10 spots for this founding cohort. Go over to the show notes. You're going to be able to click onto the information page about the program, and then you can book a call with me so that we can determine whether the program is going to be a good fit for you and whether you are a good fit for the program. Until next time, remember that no one else is going to care about your career as much as you do, so act like it. Hey, ambitious woman, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to follow the show and share it with someone who may be quietly rethinking their next chapter? Also, please leave a review. It really helps this message reach more ambitious women ready for career clarity, and it lights me up to know that this podcast is helpful to you. Until next time, go and take one strategic step forward, and I'll meet you back here in a few days for another episode. Let's keep building.